Hello everybody, welcome back to Road to Master. Hope you're all having an amazing day. We're starting off with the white pieces against an 1846. Let's go ahead and play d4. Bit different. Again, I'll say it. I'll say it every time we play d4. I don't know how to play d4. Queen's Gambit? Queen's Gambit? Sure, why not? I like it. An Albin counter gambit. Now, we actually know the Albin as black. So, we need to decide what sort of line we want to play. Whether we're playing an A3 B4 line. Whether we're playing a knight to B3 line. Or a knight F3. Knight F3 is the move to start, I think. And then you can go in a few different directions. Let's just play normal. I think, with the fianchetto. This is usually the main line. We can play A3 in a minute or two. But I actually don't mind G5. Bishop G5. Forcing this... Well, you actually go back with H6. Yeah, it's before they move the knight out that you play Bishop G5. So we sort of missed our chance on that. It's okay, but they do get, like, you keep the pawn advantage, but it turns into some sort of gambit. And we all know how I feel about playing against gambit. So we'll keep things normal. We'll just try for a good game, a solid game. Give up this pawn. We'll play solid. And then they're not actually taking it. They don't actually want it. Okay, interesting. So we probably want to go knight d2 here, right? Looking for b3. We could play a3, b4 first. And we could take this knight. We probably should actually. No, should we? So... The problem is you can't actually attack this pawn because they'll just play c5. So we maybe just let them take. I think it's fine, right? And then look for a b4 push. I think that's fine. I hope it's fine because we're playing it. But yeah, I think that's fine. Okay, yeah, that's probably a wise move from them, stopping our immediate b4. But that also slightly weakens c5 potentially because you've got like a backwards pawn on b. So maybe that's fine. We've got to decide what we're doing with this bishop because we could play a b3 and just be solid like that. Is a shout, and then look for a b4 through rook b1. Is an option. Yeah, in fact, I don't mind that, right? I don't mind that. No, we need to keep the rook. Yeah, we can't actually move the rook once we play b3, sorry. Because a3 with the bishop. So, maybe we just take. Maybe we just take at this point. And make them play a c5. Make them play a c5. We could even go e3. But that's sort of getting rid of their weak pawn a bit, which I'm not a fan of. They are still to castle. They've decided to take our knight, so we'll take with the bishop. Bishop h3 is probably the move there. And trade off the bishops that way. I think I've had that in a game, actually. Okay. Well, let's work on this pawn, then. Let's work on this pawn. We could even go like queen d2 and look for b5 that way. No. We could go bishop f4. I think I actually like, right? After they play a c5, this diagonal is going to be quite strong. They might start with some pawn pushes. Is potential ideas for them, but it lets us do a queen d2 or d3. Looking for b4 because our rook's no longer weak. Although we would still lose the pawn, I think. So queen d2 probably. Queen d2, there's options of taking on h6. But I don't think that actually leads anywhere. Bishop g5, for example. First thought. Just cancels it out, basically. So we have a nice position. You know, we're not up the pawn anymore, but that's usually what happens in the Albin. They usually get it back. They've traded off their knights, which is good for us, because the knights are your whole counterplay in the Albin. You know, getting this pawn, and then subsequently threatening this c pawn as well. A4 doesn't seem right. Why doesn't it seem right? Does it seem right? We can go queen d3, bishop e4. And play that way. Get the rook on d1. Either rook and hit this pawn. c5 is still an option. But then after c5, like we said, we get this really strong diagonal. These really strong diagonals, I should say. We can look to trade off the queens. Claim the center. Again with better bishops. Because this diagonal for them is sort of hitting a brick wall. So they probably want this diagonal more. So if we claim that early, that's probably okay for us. And I don't think we would lose this. I don't want to talk too quick, but I feel like that's a pretty even game. You know, heading drawish territory. So I think e3 here is actually the play. If they push, bishop e4 I think works, right? Bishop e4, bishop there. Rook e1. And I think we just win that, right? Yeah, we just win that pawn. So we'll go for e3. And then just do a bishop takes. We'll let them take our queen, because we don't want to give them the open file. We really want to control as much space as possible. This bishop's not on a good diagonal, like we said. We could even push c5 if we manage to double up. They go there, which is interesting. I could oh, well, I can just take this, surely. Oh, they hit that with a tempo? Takes. Oh, this is interesting. Takes, 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 takes. Ah, we go there and hit that. And we get the extra pawn out of it. Yeah, because then we can take if they go queen a. I think we can just do this, right? I don't want to sound too crazy. Rook there is interesting. Bishop d5 goes into like an isolated queen pawn. We would do pawn takes and then potentially think about taking this. So we get the C versus A. Is interesting. Dark square bishops. Which one's scarier? I don't know. And we get rid of our light squared weaknesses, which is good. I think this is the play. And we take with the pawn, not the queen. Ideally, we would hang on to this, but I don't think that's realistically possible. There, queen takes. Rook d1 at least gives us the open file immediately. But the problem is their queen could go sort of anywhere at that point. I think it's the way to go, though. I really do think it's the way to go. We're very strong on these dark squares with the dark squared bishop. So we can go rook fd1 because we want to keep this rook behind the pawn, I think. 2 minutes, 42 seconds left. Heading into an endgame, so I think that's a reasonable time. Queen d4 is an option. Kicking the rook out immediately. But there are rook d8 things. We could start working on the pawn, but I think realistically they can stop it. We want to keep this bishop on e3 to control the bishop c5 square. because that's quite key, I think, in them stopping the pawn. Queen there is interesting. I don't know what's that's doing, right? I can't really get the vision behind that. I think a queen c4 is okay. Sort of pinning this pawn, stopping their pawn, and just looking to push this with everything we've got, basically. Also hitting this, so maybe like a bishop d6 now, yeah. And then just push the pawn, push our advantage. They're struggling to do this. The rook's still undeveloped. Are we okay? I think we might be okay, right? There is threats of queen takes potentially. Or like rook a2 is an option. That's cheeky tricks that. But I think we can, if we've got enough time, we can avoid those. But we are almost supporting this all the way to promotion. You know, it's going to stick on a7 because of a rook a8, and the queen's sort of covering this diagonal, which is a bit annoying. But then potentially we can start working on the king side a bit. Yeah, and then I think we just keep pushing, right? Ah, rook takes. No, rook takes, queen takes up is fine. Because we're threatening almost mate with bishop there, or queen there even. I think that's fine. We might lose a pawn here, but yeah, these tricks are tricky. I literally said that as well. Literally said that. Go up. And we're down a pawn. I don't think they can push this. Our back rank threats are quite interesting as well. We have some rook d5 ideas if they play. But even if they play like a defensive move, we still have a very, very interesting position. They go there, which is probably safe from them. Very safe. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, let's start working on the queen side then. Oh, king side, sorry. How do we do that? I don't know. Queen e4 I think works. Looking for rook a8. Queen c6 would be nice. Bishop a7 could work. Probably rook d8 then. Rook h5 is a threat. You go there. That doesn't seem right. Yeah, just do rook there. I don't think they have any tricks. And we're probably going into a draw here. Probably going into a draw, which is fine. I'm not too upset about a draw. The Albin is a very tricky opening. We made a mistake with a5. Definitely made a mistake with a5. And I literally said as well, that is a trick we need to watch out for. Yeah. I'll look at it later because we are slightly low on time. But yeah, and then we just go bishop there. Wait, how do they stop this? Wait, what? Are we good? Are we good? Are we up a bishop? What? How do they stop this? We have the diagonal for checks, right? H3 just takes. Even bishop takes is an option. Bishop takes, king up. Oh. Right? Let me just go back there. Sit tight. Okay, this is game time. This is game time. So we'll play there. We're avoiding any of these tricks. Perpetuals we don't want. We've got checks coming in. You go there. I can sit there. You got no checks still. I've got check there. Queen there is an option for them, but then takes, right? So I'll throw in the check, and I can take this actually. So we're just up a piece now in a queen endgame. Still complicated. Still very, very complicated. Oh, they trade down? Okay, this is it. This is it, folks. This is the end game. Just not trade off too many of our pawns. We really just want to be solid. Yeah, that was unavoidable, but it's fine. Their pawn's on a dark square, which is good. We win this pawn. Very good. And it's on a dark square as well. There we just pushed promotion. Yes! Amazing. That really did come out of nowhere. Oh no. Ooh. That was almost very close. That was almost very close because this bishop's stopping. It would have been a stalemate. If they kept going, if they did not resign, it would have been a stalemate. Oh, I can't pre-move those. I can't pre-move those. No, 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 no. There would have been a stalemate. And I pre-moved all of that. That would have been very bad. That would have been very, very, very bad indeed. Yeah, wow. I got let off the hook there. I definitely got let off the hook. Let's have a look at this because this is super interesting. 96% again. We are on fire recently. We are just completely on fire. What is happening? I think that break did us a lot of good there. They weren't too shabby either. They had a 90.8, which is still amazing. 2450 versus 2400. Yeah, let's have a look. So we know the Albin. I get confused between the Alapin and the Albin. This is the Albin counter gambit. The Fianchetto line, castles, and then they didn't take, which is strange, and that threw me off a bit. Yeah, because now this doesn't work apparently. Well, you lose like your advantage of 0.7 to 0.2, so apparently E3 is just the way to go. Which is strange because I learning the Alvin, I always thought E3 was a good move for black. Black sort of liked it, which is a bit strange to me, that you willingly play that with the knight still on the board, like with these pawn structures still a bit weak and loose. But yeah, I guess the same thing applies. They can't really push without losing the pawn. So they have to take, and then you just get rid of their castling, which is quite nice. You know, these are still loose, but now like a b3 is a bit more feasible. You've got to be careful. You've got to be very careful, actually. You don't play b2 at all. You just play knight c3, right? Knight c3? No, because then you lose that. What? Oh, best move, actually. Wow. Knight takes? Then what? Bishop there. What? What? Well, what if they just keep taking? There's got to be some devious tactic here, right? There, is that it? So if they go like there, then knight takes d6. But then you're still down a pawn, though. I guess the bishop pair with the king in the middle sort of compensates you. I'm not sure at all. Anyway, we played knight d2. And then a3. A3 is just good, I think, in the Albin. Like, there's not really a bad time for it. A5 definitely the right move. You can't let me get B4. You can't. That would have been devastating. You've got no chance of playing C5. Trade off the knight. I think they were probably wrong to trade off this other knight. The computer says best move, but... Oh, yeah, because then you want bishop H3 is the idea, I think. Yeah, bishop H3, which is really awkward because I have to get my rook on E1, which I sort of did anyway, but I guess maybe bishop G2 trade off, and then I lose my bishop pair, which is annoying. We trade off the queens. Apparently you can push, though. Apparently you can push. Not a bishop. Oh, bishop E4, you push again. Ah, so you got to go D2, then bishop E4. But then they can go bishop F5. Ah. E4, apparently. E4? What? No. Rook FD1. What? No, am I being silly? That one. Really? Why not bishop E4 now? Blunder? G5? Oh, this bishop's trapped. Was that not trapped the whole time? Oh, you stop it going to E5. That's the whole idea. Cheeky, cheeky, cheeky traps. Love to see it, to be fair. Love to see it. Yeah, we were completely right to take this pawn. We get way more compensation than they do. And I think this pawn's easier to push. Although we did end up losing it, that's probably just because we're stupid. But yeah, I think... Oh, Queen D7 actually is... But then just bishop there, right? Seems fine. But then you just push. I want to see that. I want to see that. Bishop, not even that. Oh, you go bishop G5 with the idea of the mating threat if takes. That's a nice move. You go bishop there. Although that's not threatening anything. It's just stopping the trade. Because you can't still take because of the same mating threat. Rook D3 kicks the queen. Trades queens. And then this is even more drawing. I think it's weird because sometimes like two queens on the board almost makes a draw. But sometimes it increases the winning odds. It's so strange. I think it just depends on the position. Like if there's any like loose pawns or anything that can be picked up. Or any mating threats as well. But I think in this case it's actually better for the draw to keep the queens off the board. Yeah, and I think even though they're the same coloured bishops, you both got similar threats, which and the bishop's quite good at controlling this file here. This second rank. So I think that's drawish. We push again a mistake. It's just a mistake. Although they let us get some counterplay. This queen e1 move's weird. Like, you're not threatening anything, really. I see your points, but you can't realistically get there at this moment. So, yeah, it's just not worth doing, I don't think. It allows us this. Takes is a huge mistake. I mean, we just get the piece. I don't think you can stop it. It's saying rook f8. Which makes sense. Yeah. Other than that, maybe you can't even cover with the queen, so you've got to go rook f8. Rook takes, bishop takes, and then just try pick up this pawn, I guess. And eventually you do it. It says. I don't see why you can't. Oh yeah, you can't go there because of just bishop takes, queen takes. There first, maybe. Oh yeah, duh. Same mate. Not mate, same problem. You lose the bishop. And then yeah, this is pretty clean cut. We managed to trade off the queens, covering all the perpetuals, which was really important. Especially this diagonal here. You've got to cover that maximum as much as you can. We managed to get the piece. They trade off, which probably isn't the best idea, considering I'm low on time as well. They probably just keep the queens on the board. And nah, maybe, I don't know. But I definitely don't think you can win the bishop endgame. So it's probably losing anyway. But you at least get some threats of like repetitions and stuff if you keep the queens on the board. I'm not quite sure. Someone would disagree with me, but that's fine. We definitely made some mistakes in this endgame here. Letting them trade off so many pawns. We were just sort of lucky that it worked out the way that it did. To be honest, we didn't lose all the pawns, and then we just march up the board, and then almost blunder a stalemate, which would have been absolutely humiliating, and that would probably cause me to turn off pre-moves because I get too excited sometimes with the pre-moves. Anyway, that was a good game. I enjoyed it. It was very interesting playing the Albin as white. It's a good insight into... I always find it helpful, really. Whenever you play your openings as the other colour, it's helpful to understand what your opponent wants out of the position. So then when you go back to the other colour, you can start working to prevent those things, you know. And you just get a deeper understanding of the plans and the opening and the position and all that. Anyway, thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. Please like if you liked. Please subscribe if you really liked. And I'll catch you guys all tomorrow. Bye-bye.